Hi, I'm Catherine Gray, founder of She Angel Investors and co founder of the She Angels Foundation. I'm also the podcast host of Invest in Her and an award winning producer, author, and TEDx speaker. Our show, Invest in Her, features phenomenal female founders and funders. As you know, women receive less than 2% of venture capital funding. Our series is about accelerating the funding of women by connecting them to funding resources. Let's meet today's guest. Welcome to this week's episode of Invest in Her. I'm your host, Catherine Gray, founder of She Angel Investors and co-founder of the She Angels Foundation. And of course, the executive producer of Show Her the Money movie and the general partner at the Silicon Valley Women Founders Fund, where we are funding women in tech. Today, we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is making TV and movies with my friend, Rosser Goodman. Please welcome Rosser to the show, the founder of TANŌ Rising. Hi, Rosser. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am so good. And, one of the things I love about interviewing friends of mine is I get to learn so much about their background. And you have a really amazing one. So I love what you're doing today. But first, I want to talk about, your background because it's so amazing.
Thank
And we are going to talk about Philanthropists Making Movies, which is your new endeavor.
you. Yeah.
But hold that thought. Let's go back to the 25 years you've been in TV and film.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And what an incredible career you've had. I mean, you have worked with the Steven Spielberg company in television. And then with Circled Content, you had your own offices on the Paramount lot,
Right.
making movies. How did this happen? That's like everybody's dream. Everybody who's a filmmaker, that's like their dream, right? So
Yeah.
how did that all come to be? Like, what was your journey to TV and movie production in Hollywood with Spielberg and Paramount? And I know you had clients like Disney and Paramount and what an
Yeah.
incredible career.
Oh,
So
you're so
tell us
sweet.
that journey.
Yeah, thanks. That journey is one of my favorite questions to answer. Um, I mean, what I will say is just to throw in a plug for, again, women supporting women and moms and daughters. When I was about 16 or 17, getting ready to apply to, colleges, my mom said I should be a filmmaker, which is kind of the opposite, right? And she's like, "Oh, you're multi-talented, you love people." And her biggest point was that nothing reaches people in the world like film, period. So, which actually does, tie into TANŌ when we talk about that. So, I made it to Hollywood. Obviously, it's a struggle, it takes grit, as they say. And I think it's really the power of storytelling and then just the deep, deep, deep desire to tell stories. And for me personally, on the independent side, it's been about telling stories of underrepresented folks, in marginalized areas of cinema, and things like that. But as far as everything else, I mean, uh, I was living in Santa Fe, and that's when this NBC show came to town with Steven Spielberg's company, Amblin, and that was my first barbecue, and I really wanted to know how everything worked. So I got to be on the set as a set PA and worked my way up to first AD, producer, director, writer. And it's uh, it's just the way I wanted to learn, nuts and bolts from the ground up.
And there's no simple formula. How do you get to Hollywood and be successful, right? I recall that you were born in DC, same as me, and
Yeah.
then obviously made your way to Santa Fe, as fate would have it, doing that show there, and then that's
Exactly.
what brought you to Hollywood. So, what a great story!
Thank
And
you.
what was it like having a office on the lot over at Paramount Studios? That had to be really like a dream come true.
It was really fun. For a while, actually, my office was next to Jason Blum's office, back when he'd only done, a couple of the paranormal movies. And one of the films that I made while I was there that I also was directing, we shot part of it on the lot. Which is really great because, we're an independent movie. And I mean, I was there for like 5 years, and Transparent was being shot, like three stages over. And it was great. It was a great place to meet people and to invite people to come because everyone was always so excited, to
Yeah,
come.
in fact, I wish I knew you then.
Yeah, and funnily enough, apparently my exact office off of Lucy Park had been Lucille Ball's um, office, and before that, I know, dude, Catherine Hepburn's dressing room.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I was like,
Great energy in that place.
yeah, I was like, I'm in the right spot. But no, it was excellent. I was really, pleased and fortunate to be there.
And I know it says when you were there, of course, you were doing stuff with a lot of different clients, but you made a film called Love and Whatever. I love
Yeah,
the
love.
title.
Yeah, Love or Whatever. It was a romantic comedy. I'd done drama primarily before that. And this was like my first rom-com. And it was an incredible experience. I mean, we just, again, it was independent and we were able to not just, pull resources because we were on the Paramount lot, but also our casting director was there, and we just lucked out again with just the timing.
And what was it like working with Steven Spielberg? Was he a great guy?
Well, I have to say that contact was, pretty limited. But I can say that the show, it was a sci-fi show, and I'd gone to film school in Santa Fe, so having my first professional job be in Santa Fe it was just fantastic because of all the locations, and it was just like a nice full circle moment.
Yeah, cool. Well, what a great stepping stone to everything you've done. And
Thank
now
you.
you're on to a new venture. I want to mention that we met at an entity called, it was a cohort of 50 women, and
Yeah,
it was called 50 Women Can Save the World in Media and Entertainment. And
right.
that was our initial meeting. And then we kind of reconnected this past year through Show Her the Money and have been to several events together. And now we're pals. And out there both trying to change the world with film
Yeah,
and television, which I do believe it is film and TV that helps, change culture by bringing awareness, right?
exactly.
And
Yes.
so I just love your new endeavor. So first of all, let's talk about TANŌ Rising Film and what it is. But
Okay.
first, I want to talk about where you got that name. What does it mean?
Okay, well, speaking of Santa Fe, when I was living there was a road called Tano Road, and it was one of the higher end, more exclusive roads in Santa Fe, and it just stuck with me, and so a couple. I don't know, a couple years ago, I was thinking about, oh, that would be a cool name for a new production company. And then I actually did some research on the net because I was like, well, let's define, what does Tano mean? And actually, with the way the logo is and with the line over the O, it's actually Japanese, and it means many offerings.
Hmm.
So I was like, well, that's perfect. So again, it sort of harkens back to my humble beginnings, and it's just fun. Again, full circle moment.
I love that. Well, I
Thank
know we were recently at an event that was talking about, people and having DAFs, donor advisory funds, and
sure.
just about high net worth people and family offices that
Yep,
um, are philanthropists that should put on their radar using those nonprofit funds to make movies, right?
absolutely.
So talk
Yeah.
about your new endeavor.
Well, I'm extremely excited and completely lit up about this. It came to me in another cohort, 50 Women Can Change the World in Entrepreneurship, with Take the Lead, the organization. And I just I just thought of a lot of pain points that I've seen, on both sides, the financial side and also the filmmaker side. And then obviously too, with stories getting made. And, like many things in the world, particularly film, it's like, how can we make it cheaper? And again, I came from the crew. So I'm like, why are we squeezing the crew? So along with independent movies and getting stories told with underrepresented characters on meaningful social impact topics. I was like, well, those movies are really more and more the last to be financed, if they're financed at all. So suddenly it was like philanthropic dollars, which is not a new idea. But for me, just dedicating a production company very specifically to that sort of financing, I thought just benefits so many people. Obviously, not just stories and audiences and characters and filmmakers, but particularly an alternative way to spend your philanthropic dollars in a way that's meaningful to you, with individuals, family offices picking what social impact topic is most important to them,
Right. Like, is it human trafficking? Is
Yes.
it climate? What matters to them? They could be using those dollars sitting in their donor advisory funds doing nothing. They've already gotten their tax write-off.
Yep.
How could they use that to do something meaningful and impactful in the world? And I love you had pointed out about six things that your company is uh, doing this for, like that a person thinking about this would think about. So one is the ROI is that the movies are seen. They're getting to work with you, a seasoned, producer, director, getting it actually distributed and seen to make
Correct.
an impact on this topic that means something to them, right? Um,
Absolutely.
that they're a benefactor of the arts just by
Correct.
doing this. You're doing one donor per film. The budgets are usually 5 to 15 million. Uh, there are social impact scripts that they would have to choose from, I take it.
Correct. Yeah.
The theme is selected by the benefactor,
Yes.
um, and it's a way for them to leave their legacy. So, what a great thing you're doing is connecting really high net worth people with their purpose on the planet and
Yes.
with filmmakers and screenwriters who have written really great material addressing those issues. I think it's amazing. I think it's perfect for you, such a heart high conscious person, but with such an incredible background. You're the ideal person to be putting these components together to really make an impact in the world. So love it, love it, love it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, it's my entire film background, exactly what you said, with my compassion for people and causes, and then business acumen, and the three of those just intertwine for me, really personally, to make TANŌ Film the reality that it is. And I've learned a lot also about that philanthropic space. And one of the things I've noticed is sometimes donors actually aren't quite sure where to donate at times, because they're very busy vetting the organization, if they're smaller and they want to help smaller groups. And so I feel like this answers that pain point, because it's absolutely provable. I partnered with a nonprofit, From the Heart Productions, who as well, Carol Dean. And then it's an alternative form, obviously, of leaving legacy, probably one that people haven't really even thought of or knew was possible, because it's such a straightaway way into finding exactly what lights them up. So yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, well, you should be. And I think it's a great concept, getting philanthropists to make movies, to leave a legacy that is about a topic that they really care about. I mean, it's really brilliant. And
Appreciate
getting to
that.
work with you, they'd be so lucky. Such a pleasure to work with. Um, is there anything in the works yet or that you would like to be that you could tell us about?
Well, at the moment, I'm collecting clients, meeting lots of people, recommendations and referrals, getting down to the nitty-gritty of what specific people's specific causes are. Um,
What are
and
some of
just
the causes that some people have shared with you that they would like to address?
Okay, definitely mental health. That keeps coming up constantly, mental health. And then also interestingly, foster care. Some folks have really come from tough backgrounds and, are self-made and they have a lot of, strong feelings clearly of, when they were in the foster system. So, I mean, trafficking, obviously, but really everybody just keeps coming back to mental health, but also environment. Environment's really important,
Mhm.
queer rights. So those are the ones that have, kind of popcorned up.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we should have movies out there about these things, and I'm excited that you're going to manifest that, and that philanthropists have an opportunity to do that. I hope they hear our show and get that
Yes.
message, or if you know someone who is a philanthropist and you think they'd like to leave a movie as a legacy, then they need to check out TANŌ Rising. Let's talk about how people can reach you.
Oh, for sure. Well, one is the TANŌ Rising.film website. I have it set up in such a way that, philanthropists or their representatives have, perfect way of getting through to find out more. And then I actually have a section also for filmmakers because, filmmakers, having been one and still being one, everyone is very excited about this idea. So, my point to them is if they have a completed script, one that, is developed and pretty much ready to go, that has a social impact topic or more, just, answer like 5 or 6 questions and it'll be, better kept on my radar and things like that. But definitely the website. I'm on LinkedIn. I love connecting with people on LinkedIn. And yeah, I'm pretty easy to find, I think, on the internet.
Okay, great. Well, look up Rosser Goodman on LinkedIn and, of course, tannerrising.film. Also, you can find me, Catherine Gray, on LinkedIn. Love to connect on there too. And we have 3 websites, so we always like to share them, which is the movie, showherthemoneymovie.com. We have our fund, which is Silicon Valley, womenfoundersfund.vc. And then, of course, sheangelinvestors.com. We really appreciate everybody taking the time to tune in today and learn about this incredible new opportunity for philanthropists to make their own movies about socially conscious topics that really are important to them so they can leave their legacy and get to work with the amazing Rosser Goodman. Rosser, thanks for being a great guest.
Oh, thank you so much. I love everything you're doing. You're the North Star for so many of us and, really appreciate you and your work.
Thank you. Make it a great week, everybody.